I believe congratulations are in order because somebody's growing up, getting married, getting a house.
That's right. That's right. Just got engaged and just moved into the house, man. It's crazy.
That's a good feel, right?
Oh, dude,
It's a good feel.
it's a lot of responsibility like that for a World of Warcraft player, man. Like, let me tell you.
Yeah, it is. Like, how did you? Okay, I have to ask though. How did you propose? Or was it the other way around?
No, yeah. So I proposed. It was all planned out. So she had no idea, and it was kind of like this Inception thing. Like I was like, it'd be really great if we could get out of town and go on a hike. And I was kind of getting this idea into her mind like 6 months before I planned on proposing, because I already asked her mom and everything. Everything was all like good and set up to go. And so she was like, "Oh yeah, we should go to Sedona. We should go on a hike." And I already planned that we were going on Sedona on a hike, and it was already booked. And it was kind of like, in her mind, her idea. And we went with our. Yeah.
That's manipulative, dude. You're starting off on the wrong foot.
Oh no!
There's manipulation going on.
I just wanted it to be a complete surprise, so she had absolutely no idea. And then we went on the hike with both of our families, and we went out on this rock for a photo. Right, it was supposed to be a photo. And then I started talking to her about how we met and, how I'm so excited moving forward. And then, dropped on one knee, and she just thought it was a hike, family hike. We were taking some pictures. So it was awesome, man. It was really great.
You know what you missed out on though? You didn't get any opportunities for good quality trolling. So I went the other way with my wife.
Oh yeah.
We've been married 8 years now, but we'd been together 15 before we got married. And we talked about marriage, and it was all very planned out, very logical. And I was so worried about the engagement ring that I took her to buy the engagement ring.
Okay.
So she could pick it.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard too many horror stories of the girls getting an engagement ring.
And not liking it.
And they didn't like it. Yeah. Like being stuck with the damn thing on her finger or wanting to take it back or something. And my wife is picky. So I took her to buy it. I didn't propose, though, for 7 months after that.
Oh, man, she was thinking in her mind probably, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. So but what I did do, which was awesome, is periodically I would do something, because she didn't want to get proposed to in public. That's one thing she's always like, don't put it in public, don't embarrass me, because I like the showman side of things, right?
Yeah.
So she was dreading that I would do some huge gesture really over the top in front of so many people. So periodically in like restaurants, on vacations, I would randomly like get down on one knee, look up to her in her eyes, and then just tie my shoelace.
Oh my god!
It's like an emotional wreck.
The master troll himself. That is fantastic.
In the end, I did it Christmas Day in our apartment. I put them inside of a lot of them. You know them Russian dolls?
Yeah.
I made her open so many of them. By the end of it, she was like, the engagement ring's in here, isn't it? And she was like, yeah, it was hilarious.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, so my fiance is super picky too. So I did a decoy ring, and we actually kind of picked it out together afterwards. So that's actually not even here yet. It'll be here in like actually this week or early next week. So we're really excited.
Yeah, especially because it's such an investment. You don't want that.
Yeah.
That problem.
Right.
I don't want to deal with that.
Dude,
you don't want that sourness to come in.
Dude, I do not trust myself, man, for like a ring that expensive to just be like, oh yeah, let me I think you'll like this one. Like, nah.
Yeah. I'm not even going to wear it. It's not even my problem, right? You know what I mean? That was my perspective. Is like, this is not even my issue. So
yeah.
But I found out, I don't know if you did, I found out about things I didn't even know about. My wife has genuine concerns about knuckle skin.
Huh.
And I was like, what? Knuckle skin? Just like, it looks like a dog's face. I don't like it. I don't want people seeing my knuckle skin. So the ring has to distract.
Well, what I found out was, I was like, for the decoy ring, I'm thinking, okay, she probably wears like a 6. No, dude, she wears a 4. So I was like,
oh god,
I was 2 sizes too big. So
you gave her a big floppy dingy ring.
Yeah, well, it's like, yeah, it's falling off her finger. It was bad, but yeah, it worked out.
Introductions then, because my audience is very PvE focused, and one sad thing I realized when we started talking about these things is we have a weird community gap, like amongst content creators, between the PvE and the PvP world. We never mix. Like, me and you have probably been to the same events multiple times, and we've never crossed paths.
You know, it's cool. I actually have one of my moderators in Twitch. He's like, dude, I watched 2 people Xaryu and Preach, and I told him about this episode, and he's like, dude, this is the ultimate crossover, man.
It is.
It's really cool.
I've seen there's like videos of you at BlizzCon and all this stuff, and I'm like, I was in that room, like
same room,
I bumped into Zico and Venruki and stuff like that, but it was only at like an after party. That's it. You know, you might have even been there. That's what's crazy. Were you at the Method after party at BlizzCon?
Yeah, I was. Yep.
I was there too.
We were all at the same places.
Never spoke
man.
to you.
All the same places. That's funny.
That is crazy. It's just so stupid that it kind of works out that way because, again, I watched one of the videos that really interested me and I was like, I have to talk to this guy. Because one, you're a super interesting dude and your story is really interesting.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Like the non-competing stuff, I want to get into all that if we can.
Absolutely.
And the restrictions. And you started super young as well, like age 12.
Yep. Yeah. You've done your research.
I've been doing my homework.
Yeah,
I've been doing my homework. I have. And I was like, oh, but we could talk to this peekaboo guy. But if I sort by interesting, he's lower down the list.
Oh my god. Oh man, I'm gonna have to tell him you said that. That's hilarious.
And that's what I thought we should do. I was just clicking the sort button. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go this way.
Sort by interesting. Oh man, that's good. I'm gonna have to use that one.
I thought that was cool. I was watching. I was like, I'm definitely going to say that line.
Well, after every game, you know what? So I mean, for your listeners that might not understand, after every game that we played in 2v2, 3v3 doesn't matter. Like if I'm top on damage, I'll say sort by damage. But if I was not top on damage, I'll say like sort by killing blows. And if I'm not top on killing blows, I'll say sort by healing or anything that I was top on, I'll say sort by, right? And
yep.
So Preach comes out with sort by interesting.
Even if it's ridiculous, sort by interrupts missed, I win.
Right.
It's a great in-joke between the both of you. Like, it's super fun. It's one of those ones I'm wary not to repeat on stream because people are going to go, you copied, but it's a hilarious line when you're competing with somebody else.
Yeah.
To keep whipping that out. How do you still play PvP in this game? That's where I want to start. Because, like, my very first video I ever made was a PvP video in the Burning Crusade. Like, I was into it, and the video itself killed my interest in PvP. Because, I mean, at the time, and it may be very different now, it was so imbalanced that it didn't matter how good you were going to lose certain fights. And I drifted out of the scene for ages, where you went the opposite road. You're, like, full on... Like, watching you guys play is actually nuts. And I think it's how a lot of people see, like, very high-end world-first PvE players.
Mm-hmm.
It's you guys are talking absolute shit while doing crazy amounts of control CC, tracking information on multiple characters.
Right.
Across the whole board. I mean, you'd see your brains are working at, like, 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Well,
but still relaxed.
So the analogy for that I go to most of the time is if you are driving for the first time, there's so many things to be aware of, right? Like there's street signs,
mm-hmm.
there's stoplights, there's pedestrians, there's, you know, people walking their dog or, you know, whatever it is. And there's a lot, like, I mean, there's theoretically a lot that could happen, a lot that's going on. But after driving for 5 years, 10 years, you know, 15 years, whatever it is, all of a sudden you get into your car and it's just all autopilot. All the things, you're aware of everything. I mean, you should be, I hope, aware of everything on the road, and you see everything happening, and it's just picked up by, you know, peripheral vision, or you're just used to it, right? And you're used to looking at all
mm-hmm.
these different cues. You know, how fast should I be going? Should I be slowing down? You know, should I be going or stopping in this certain situation? So I think Arena's the same way. I mean, I've been playing it since I was 12, like you said, or maybe a little after that, because when I was 12, it was vanilla WoW, but maybe 14. So I think a lot of the time it's just, I'm in a game. I know all the different things that could be happening or, you know, might be happening, and I'm just used to it. So, or any high-rated player, I think that's kind of what's going on. It's just you've done it long enough to where it's like, okay, here it is. But yeah, back to your initial question, I was thinking like, I wonder what he's going to ask me. And your first question is, how do you PvP still? So it's just...
it's the same. I'm sure it's the same thing. A lot of people ask me, is like, how do you still play WoW? It's, you know, when things like corruption come into the game, because this, let me take it back a step. We've gone too far. I watched your assessment of the Shadowlands stuff.
Okay.
And to say it is night and day between what you see on the screen and what I see is off the page.
Yeah.
Because I read abilities and I go, that could not be more boring if they tried. Like, that's the worst spell I have ever seen in my life. And I think it was like a mage thing, like Mirrors of Torment, right?
Right.
But I'm looking at it from a dungeon and raid point of view. Like, that is dog. And then I go to your video and look at it and you're like, well, there's only one choice here. It's Mirrors of Torment. And I'm like, oh, we are playing such different games. It's insane. And I can't even, and we throw it away off the cuff lines, right? We go, well, it's probably good in PvP. And then that's it. I leave it.
Right.
Just like, I'm done with it. And it's so weird to me that we both play this game a hell of a lot. Yet what we see on the screen is so different.
Oh, totally, man. So that specific ability, it's funny because it's already been buffed and then nerfed and then buffed and then nerfed like 14 times since that video.
Oh, yes.
So I'm not sure if it's good anymore, but that specific ability, what it did is it gave you basically a 2 or 3 second silence. And having a silence like that to set up after a stun, it would make for a crazy combo, right? Like you have your rogue kidney shot someone, you throw out mirrors, and then after the kidney shot, they're going into a silence, or vice versa. You start with a silence and then end with a kidney. I mean, that's just huge, like to have that, right? So, but from your perspective, you're probably like, not much damage, silence. What's that going to do? 2 seconds? Like,
yeah. I mean, I go out with it to test, for videos and stuff, because obviously people come to see the latest things, and I go out and I put it on like an enemy, and it doesn't even go off, and I'm like, what is this? This is terrible.
It's terrible, dude.
Yeah, it's the worst. Like, if I got this, I'd be so disappointed. Like, like it does no damage. It doesn't even activate.
Right.
Like, okay. But what about your balance concerns? Like, corruption for you. Like, corruption was such a meme to us, because I was casting the World First race when corruption came into the game. And we're watching, the World First Raiders put on 180 corruption with no corruption resistance, and playing tanks as DPS so they could just AoE everything and it working.
Right.
But then I see videos of PvP with yourselves and people are just randomly one-clapped.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening here? I mean, how does that affect you guys?
So it was funny when corruption first came out, right? So it kind of went full circle, but when corruption first came out, people were putting on, what was it, infinite stars, I think, and stacking it all the way up. And they would have like, whatever max corruption it was, like 200 corruption, and then running it as like a prop pally and just hoping for an infinite stars proc to one-shot the guy. And as soon as anything happened, the pally would just bubble so he wouldn't die to the corruption. But by then, if he killed the enemy team, they already won. So it was like the first tournament with corruption was literally like prop pallies with full infinite stars running in and trying to just one-shot people, which is hilarious.
Good game, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, just like anything, we saw a lot of iterations of buffs and nerfs and changes and a lot of different metagames. So infinite stars got nerfed like 17 times because it was just OP for so long. And then eventually people started figuring out point for point, gushing wounds was kind of the way to play. So gushing wounds in PvP kind of just took off as like, if you want to do a lot of damage, you play gushing. And then there was 2 other metagames. One was insane amounts of haste. And that's what like Destro Warlocks and a lot of Fire Mages played with. And an insane amount of haste. I mean, I forgot, Expedient is what it was called, I believe. And Haste Dams.
Yeah, that's the one. Expedient
and Haste Dam stacked, man, with a Destro casting Chaos Bolts. I mean,
yes, they did.
That was quite the experience. Let me leave it at that. And then a lot of other people just played versatility. So versatility, of course, gives you the damage reduction as well. So you kind of just became super tanky and you did a lot of damage. So it was kind of like, are you going to go a ton of haste, a ton of gushing, or a ton of versatility? And I mean, once that metagame kind of settled down and people kind of played one of those 3, the end result wasn't that bad, right? I think a lot of people love to complain. I am under the viewpoint that the end result of that kind of metagame, once it settled down, wasn't terrible. Now, the worst part about it is that it took so long to gear an alt, right? It took so long to actually get to that point where you were happy with your character's gear, right? Maybe 6-8 weeks or longer to get that full corruption set. And to me, that was like a really big barrier of entry for 1, my alts, or 2, a new player coming into the game. So for me, it wasn't as much as of the metagame being like the worst at the end, as more as just like it's really hard for new players to get a full best in slot set.
Yeah, to adapt to the new meta, right? Because we see a lot of that come from, say, the MDI teams. Is they have like competitions similar to Arena that are happening immediately after a new system is brought into the game, and they're kind of guessing. It feels like Twilight Devastation is really good. It AoEs everything. Yeah. But then they gear that up. They focus on getting that stuff, right? They might spend millions of gold in order to acquire the items that carry them to do that. And they're using it in the tournaments, and they're broke. And then the next week, someone goes, actually, full verse is better. And then you're like, oh my God. Like, I'm broke now, dude. I have to restart it. And that's what I always have issue with in Arena. It's got to be like, it takes so long for people to adjust across the ladder, right? So you see a lot more people still getting one-claps even after the solution, say, has been found.
It's always really funny, right? Because right when the patch comes out, people are like, hey, Zar, what's the best? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, it just came out today. I mean, Infinite Stars seems pretty good. And then everyone's like, all right, great. And then just like you said, dude, I just dropped 3 million on Infinite Stars leggings. And I'm just like, sick, dude. Like, I just got nerfed 40 minutes ago.
I do. We refuse. Like, we're in a situation right now. We have 32 videos in our archive for the Shadowlands that we can't release because they keep changing stuff. Oh no! So we've had the team making these, testing these. It represents like hundreds of hours of work.
Oh my goodness!
Can't release them. Just sat there like rotting away because we can't talk about this stuff. Because the last thing I want, because most people, what I've found in WoW, and you just summed that up, is they go to a streamer and they go, "Hey, what's good?" And we go, "This is good." And then they're like, "Good, I'm sorted for the rest of the expansion."
Nope.
And they're like, "I suck now." And then they go, "That Xaryu guy's a piece of shit." Because I went and asked him and he said infinite stars. So I've got all infinite stars and I suck. And he's not even using infinite stars. He lied to me. That's the kind of feedback I get. And I'm like, dude, the game's always changing, man. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
You might get like a week off infinite stars before it changes. I mean, so once the metagame settles down, we might have like harmony for a few months. But just talking about Shadowlands now, so we have covenants, right? And it's this same conversation like you just brought up. It's like, hey, Zar, what's the best covenant for mage? And I'm like, well, Venthyr, and then Mirrors of Torment gets nerfed. And I'm like, well, maybe Kyrian now. But then we're seeing so many buffs and nerfs of Kyrian that, it could always change. So I just want people to be wary of that.
Yeah. I preface everything I say these days, and it's good to see it does translate into the PvP world. Someone asked me a simple question like, okay, here's my 10-minute disclaimer on this process before I answer this question, just so you understand where I'm coming from, because trust me, it's not that easy, and it's never something you're going to be ready for.
Well, as a streamer or creating content at all, like, hey, Xaryu, what class should I play, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, that's similar to like asking me what your favorite color is. I mean, I don't know what class you would enjoy, but I can kind of point you in the right direction. But yeah, I think, people want those definitive answers. So with covenants, we don't know yet. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
We have no idea, and they like took the soulbinds and flipped them on their head just 2 days ago. After months of iteration, they just were like, let's turn them upside down and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go. So you played during vanilla?
Yes.
You're that old school?
I am that old school, yeah. I'm that guy.
And always PvP. So you do have a website, which I'm going to link to, because it's really interesting. Xaryu.tv is for anyone who's listening. Because you have books and all sorts, and we're going to get certainly into that stuff. But let's expand a bit on this start. So you just started playing in school. What got you into WoW?
All right, so I was, let's see, what year was it? It's 2004, and I was a RuneScape player. I played RuneScape, dedicated, played a lot, and I saw World of Warcraft at, I think it was like Office Depot or Office. I don't even know if those are around anymore. And I was with my mom, and I saw the game. And I was just like hooked from the package. Like, this is awesome. This is way better than RuneScape. Like, RuneScape, I was just like all about it already. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, if you buy this for me, I will quit RuneScape. Like, I promise. And she's
for what's that? I'll quit heroin for something else. What a deal!
What a deal, right? And like, I literally told her that, and I was like, no way, it works, right? And she's like, wait, you'll actually quit? Because I play a lot, right? And And she was just like, when she heard the words quit RuneScape, she's like, this is great, I'm in. So she bought me World of Warcraft. I quit RuneScape. I stuck to my word. I quit. And here I am 15 years later still playing
Exactly. More. It's like, I promise you I'll take no more heroin if you buy me that meth. I promise you.
Yeah. So
I never said I was going to quit meth. Though.
Yeah. She had no idea, but here I am, and I'm 27 now, still playing World of Warcraft. So I got into it, 2004, 12 years old. I started with PvP. I mean, so I guess your initial question was why PvP? I think I've always loved the dynamic aspect of it. I love the targeting and focus mechanics behind World of Warcraft PvP. There's something beautiful about it. I loved the game initially, similar to RuneScape, as there was no agenda of what the game developers were trying to tell me to do. It didn't say like, go do this quest. I mean, you could do the quest, or you could just sit in Goldshire and slash dance. You know, I loved that about the game. And I loved that in Arena or PvP, it was very similar. You could make up your own builds. You could do your own strategies. And I just always thought PvP was really, really beautiful, right? I don't know any...
Well, what about the announcement of Arena then? So if we go back to Burning Crusade, I think is when it came in. And they said, hey, we're adding an arena. Like, what was that like for you?
So
for somebody with that mindset.
So I played a lot of just Battlegrounds, you know, and vanilla, and I played a lot of World PvP and stuff like that. And I mean, I was 12. So the way I moved my character is I used the arrow keys to move. And I
hate you.
With my left... Okay, hold on. No, you're going to hate me more in a second.
Oh, God.
I used my left hand. All right, imagine my left hand on the arrow keys. And then my right hand I used to hit all my keybinds, which were on 1 through 5, and like tab and Q. So I didn't have any hands on the mouse.
Crossed arms?
Crossed arms, no hands on the mouse.
Why?
It was my first like experience. So in RuneScape, you click to move. And in WoW, I was like, oh, I guess you use the arrows. So
I mean, surely you're sat there going, this doesn't feel right.
No,
this can't be right.
I did.
Why abandon the mouse? You used it in RuneScape. Like, oh, it's useless now. I have arrow keys. What a better solution.
I have no idea, man. I was 12. I'm going to leave it at that.
Were you a shit talker as well? Owned.
Oh, dude, I thought I was...
Were you crossed arms?
Oh, dude, I thought I was
just picturing this guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I abandoned that methodology of playing pretty fast, but that is how I played in vanilla as far as I remember. And then, so BC came out, Arena came out, and honestly, Season 1, I didn't play a whole ton. Like, so imagine, like, right now, they release, like, so I guess PvP Island Expeditions would be a good example, right? So Arena is what everyone plays, and they came out with PvP Island Expeditions. And some people might play it, but they're like, is this really that cool? Maybe, maybe not. So when Arena first came out, I was a little skeptical. I was like, dude, Battlegrounds are like PvP, like this is it. And having like an Arena, I was like, well, maybe I'll check it out. Like, we'll see if that's cool. So Season 1, I actually didn't play it that much. Like, I played a little bit. I played a few games here and there. But Season 2 is when I first started playing. And I was actually a Holy Pally. I started playing Holy Pally. And Season 3 in Burning Crusade is when I actually leveled and played my first mage.
So that early on, so you've never really been a flavor of the month reroller for PvP, even though they made some changes a lot?
Correct. So I've played mage since Season 2 or Season 3 Burning Crusade, pretty much all the way through. Yeah. So thankfully for me, mages are always pretty good. So, yeah.
They are. I mean, TBC was the only time, at least in the PvE world, they were considered bad.
Yeah.
Or weak, I should say. But in PvP, they've always been pretty god. So you were like there for the full-on RMP days, right?
Yeah, I was there pretty much. I did quit a few times briefly, just with real life stuff going on. I mean, I was in high school and then moving into college and stuff like that. So there was some brief moments where I would quit for, 6 months or a year. But pretty much since vanilla, I've been playing pretty solid on the mage. Yep. And I played all 3 specs, Frost, Arcane, and Fire. So just kind of hop around between those depending on what's meta game, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But considering you are extremely good, what's the not being able to compete thing?
Okay.
Which is bizarre, right?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, and this might get a little philosophical, but for me, I really do believe where you're putting your energy and focus is where you're going to end up seeing a lot of results just in life, right? So for me, it's like, okay, if I'm going to put a bunch of energy and commitment into, being the world's best mage, then that's where I'm going to see results. But I think my passions lie elsewhere, at least at this point in my life. So I guess rewinding a little bit, when I was 18, I dreamt of winning BlizzCon. It was something that I really wanted to do, and I really, really wanted to compete in. But for a very long time, Arizona, the state I live in the U.S., was banned from playing in tournaments. It was just some weird gambling law, right? Like I don't know how else to explain it for the listeners besides that.
It's so the rules over there just blow my mind. Like we run into it all the time because we're European, and it's like if we have too many events working over there, like they won't let us come back. So if we did like a couple of casting events, like I worked Vegas and then another one, they wouldn't let me work at BlizzCon.
Wow.
And like,
jeez.
Yeah, so like Sloot ran into that as well. Like he just wasn't allowed, even though he was there, because the laws and stuff. And then you find out that actually that extends to like some people being able to do, your state's individual rules.
Yeah.
Like you can't take place in a WoW PvP tournament. Like it just seems so bizarre.
What I think is it was just some outdated law that was preventing gambling, and for some reason the way that the WoW rules must have been written is some gambling tournament, because there was probably no terminology for gaming when they were writing that, or something like that. That's just my best guess. And it got tied into gambling, and gambling was against the law, so you couldn't do it. I guess for some reason that's what it was, but that was back then when I was 18, so almost 10 years ago. And I really wanted to compete back then. I was a rank 1 player. I was, pretty much just playing a lot of WoW at that time, and I really wanted to be, on stage, but I couldn't compete unless I moved states. But I was in college. I had a scholarship, and like to drop my scholarship and to move colleges and move states to maybe win a tournament was like just not a smart idea, right? So that's what it was all the way until 2019 or 2018. So just a year or two ago. Is when they actually first removed that kind of law or ruling. So now people from Arizona can play. So I think let's just say 2018 is the first time. I think that might have been 2019, honestly, though. Might have been last year. Was the first time Arizona could compete. So it was really mainly a question as early as last year of, hey, Xaryu, you can compete now. Like, should you compete? So it was for like when I first heard the news, kind of this internal struggle. Like, man, my 18-year-old self dreamed of this, but I've like long kind of let that dream die, and I've been just doing a lot of other stuff. I still play the game a lot, but I'm working on a lot of other stuff, like the website you mentioned, and where we had the house kind of planned out, and I was thinking about engagement and all this like other real life stuff, and I'm just thinking, man, like to compete, it is like a lot of time investment, right? Off stream practicing, that means less streaming. It means traveling potentially. It means tournaments every other weekend. It's just a big commitment, right? Taking away from content, taking away from YouTube, taking away from Twitch, taking away from the website, which I'll touch here on in a second. And I was just like, is that really where I want to put my energy? Is that really where I want to just go full out? Or is that kind of where I would have liked my energy at 18, but maybe not anymore? And I guess, so to bring it back full circle, my passion now is to kind of create gaming into a healthier space. And what I mean by that is when I was 12, or even say 10, when I was playing RuneScape, I played like, 8 or 10, 12 hours a day a lot of the time. And that was normal for me. I didn't go outside. I didn't really work out that much. I didn't focus on what I was eating. And I guess I needed at that time in my life a role model telling me, hey, dude, let's go outside, let's get a workout in, and then come in and play games for the rest of the day, right? And I think what I needed back then is just who I'm trying to be now in 2020, right? When I'm 27, I'm trying to be that role model for people, growing up or playing at any age, really, just to say, hey guys, let's hit a workout or eat healthy and then play WoW. So what we do on the streams is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do a workout on the stream in the living room, and just like body weight workouts with the community and work out on the live streams. And then later in the evening is when I'm gaming. So the gaming streams are just a couple of hours now, and the workout streams are in the morning for an hour or two. And it's really cool to just say, look, you can be healthy and be a gamer. And that's really where my passion lies. Like, I really love the stuff. So on the website, we have a program just to get people kind of started, a fundamental kind of ebook or guide just to show how you gain fat, how you lose fat, how you gain muscle, how do you lose muscle, all these types of just really basic things, and a cookbook. So for people that are like, well, I don't even know what to cook or get started, all the resources are there for people just to kind of get started, right? And that's my passion, right? So I've been dumping so much time and energy into this, and then all of a sudden, hey, Xaryu, you can compete now. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if that's in the cards for me anymore.
That's not really my goal anymore. I've gone past that.
Right. So, but here's the thing, right? And I do say this to a lot of my viewers. I never want to say never, right? In a year from now, if the perfect team comes up and it's a really, great opportunity and things are kind of settled into place where I'm really into my routine and I think I can take it on. I'm never going to say like, dude, I'm never doing that in my life, so it could still happen. I just right now with everything else going on.
Why so much of it is off streams, huh? Why is it? I mean, there can't be that much you're keeping secrets about PvP, surely.
For practice, you mean?
For practice or whatever, yeah. How come so much of it would take away from your normal schedule and not something that could be a part of it?
So yeah,
I don't understand PvP enough, I guess. This is why I'm asking you.
When someone's getting ready for like an MDI in PvE, do they practice on stream or off?
On, for the most part. There's a couple of, there is some sneaky play they'll do on the PTR itself. So, I mean, I've got an MDI team within my guild. And obviously I'm friends with JB and whatnot. So what they do is do most of it on stream, because that's their stream content is dungeons and stuff.
Yeah,
Everyone go and watch Now and Co's do that all the time. But when it comes to the actual tournament, they will do a little bit off stream to practice certain dungeons, because times get posted. So they know, I think a recent best example would be Method EU, when they were when Method was still around in that form. They had some freehold dungeon that was under 10 minutes. And people were like, what the heck? Because they knew the time, they hadn't seen it on stream.
They haven't seen the strats, right.
Yeah, so they've obviously found... I mean, that's a case of they found, I think, a snap that they called at the time where they get all the mobs to teleport to one position.
Yeah.
They'd found some sort of snap that if they showed it on stream, everybody would be like, oh, okay, you just snap all the mobs to there. I don't see how that transfers into PvP, though. It's not like you can say, well, at 3 minutes, if we counterspell this guy, we win.
Well,
because the matches are always so in flux.
So it yes and no. So in PvP, it might not be like finding a snap or finding a certain route or whatever, but there are things that once you're competing that you want to keep secret. And one of the best examples, so Sea-Doo won BlizzCon, I think in 2018, and then that year they had a Moonkin one shot with Innervate. I mean, a lot of people knew about that, but they kind of.
Oh, the Azerite trait.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about, yeah.
And it just one-shot people, and it was crazy. And it wasn't really like that used until tournament season, and a lot of people were practicing. So the tournament metagame becomes separate than the live metagame for PvP. So I'm trying to explain this the best I can, but there's a tournament realm where the PvP like kind of metagame evolves. And on the tournament realm, gear is a little different. And you have access to everything, and you can kind of build your character however you want. So the metagame ultimately is a little different than live arena. So if you want to get practice for the tournament realm, that's war games, and that's just practicing. That's all usually done off stream on the tournament realm, and it's a different metagame. So it's just a time commitment.
I mean, a good point you've brought up there is you're actually playing different characters.
Yes.
Because sometimes they even limit you to like a past patch in terms of gear levels and things like that. So that does make a lot of sense that your meta that you're actually competing with isn't translating into what you're able to do on live at all.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that makes much more clarity for me anyway.
Yeah, so it is a lot different. And I mean, so it's just more of a time commitment. Having said that, like I said, in the future, when things settle down a little bit and if a perfect team came along, yeah, maybe I could take it on. I mean, like it still is this kind of new thing for me. Like I can compete in Arizona. Wow, like this is crazy. But yeah, it has
I've never been to Arizona. Is it really worth sticking around that much, or is it a family? You're comfy there?
I have some family here. Yeah, I don't. For me, I. Oh man, so it's Arizona. If you Google
If I
pictures,
Google Arizona, by
yeah,
the way, it's just a
it's
rock. So you live in a rock somewhere.
yes,
That's all I can
it's
tell.
like Tenaris, man. It's a desert. It's there's
I live in Tenaris. Can't leave this.
dude.
building.
I was walking around the other day on just like a walk in midday, and there's a tumbleweed that just tumbled by, like something you would see in like a movie or something or a show, just like straight up and just cactus everywhere. Yeah, we live in a desert.
It looks gorgeous, by the way.
It is very pretty.
I can see the appeal, especially for someone who enjoys outdoor hiking and things like that. You must be just set for life.
Yeah, so it's very pretty. It's a lot of the year is actually beautiful. So we're actually coming into the months that I love it here. It's great in the winter, and then in the spring. The summer, it gets to like 110 degrees here. Let me do that to Celsius. That's
Put it in real money.
43 Celsius. All right, maybe even up to 44.
Humid?
Not humid. It's dry, which is
that's fine.
Yeah, which is great. But it gets hot. It gets really really hot, and that's what I don't like. But hey, family's here.
I'm the same. I could travel to Egypt. I love Egypt. It gets to about 47 there. I'm fine with that. Like I love it. Put me in Florida at about 40, and I can't stand it.
Right.
Absolutely disgusting.
Well, then you might like it here. Yeah, it's dry. It's not.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's great.
Emma wants to move. My wife wants to move to the US at some point, but I can't say I've ever been to any state I would live in. But I've only been to like 5. But every time it's been we recently in Los Angeles, across there, I was like, I would never live here. Nice place to visit. Not a chance I would live here.
Yep. Yeah, Arizona, man, it's nice. It's families here. I mean, at the end of the day, I spend so much time just streaming and game. Like, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter that much. I'm happy near family. So yeah, there's that.
No, that's great. Can I ask you? You'd be the guy to ask, I guess. So the PvP in WoW has always been a little marred by not that the PvE world's ever innocent with corruption, boosting. All sorts of stuff like that, getting people to rank 1, smurfing characters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? Like, I mean, surely someone of your skill level has definitely been approached at some point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have on several occasions from my side. It's like, can you boost me? You know, I'll pay you, real money.
Yeah.
I had that a lot, and I was like, no, dude. Like, but it's been rife in the PvP community for many years.
Yeah.
And how does that affect you guys?
So, I mean, if we rewind just to like historically, I mean, I guess so. Like in Burning Crusade days or Wrath of the Lich King days, people were really good at WoW. They wanted to turn it into some type of job or career, and they started getting into boosting. I mean, I guess I see what they're doing. I mean, not that I would necessarily support that. But in 2020, man, like we have content. You can create on YouTube. You can go live on Twitch. You can do a bunch of cool things. So I think my best advice is to people that are really good and want to start making money off of the game, start creating content, getting it out there, and that's probably just a much better avenue. I think anyone doing boosting in 2020 needs to, I mean, come on, just let that die. Let that be a thing of the past. Like that should not, in a video game, I think people playing their own accounts is fantastic. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been a weird thing to see. Because we tracked it. I think it was during Wrath, actually, is that people were posting these screenshots of these win traders going on, because you remember we had that website on the WoW, I think it was just built into the WoW website, where you could follow everybody's arena history.
Yep.
And it was the same team backwards and forwards, just like, well, they beat us then, and then 2 minutes later they beat the other one. And you're like, what the hell? This is so suspect. Because obviously these guys aren't the smartest at trying to cover this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
watching it happen was so weird.
There's always a level of just like, there's some people that want rank 1, they want to be good. They want to show off their cool title to their friends. And then there's some people that really want rank 1. Like, man, they'll do anything to get rank 1. Like, they'll hack someone's account. They'll, I don't know if you've heard the whole like Hydra story with Hydra being hacked, and I think it was season 9 or.
I haven't. He's on the schedule as somebody I want to talk to. Because his videos back in the day were the true reason I ever played PvP.
Yeah.
Like Hydra Mist videos. I mean, we talked to Zalgradis this morning. I don't know if you remember him from Vanilla. He did a lot of prop paladin PvP.
Mm-hmm.
And And I want to get to Hydra at some point for sure.
Yeah, dude, Hydra was definitely a big influence on me as well to PvP, like getting into how I am now. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, there's some people that are always just going to go above and beyond. And I mean, I guess I'm happier now that in Shadowlands in year 2020, people are getting banned. You know, like people are becoming afraid to do carries, and anyone who is still trying to do a carry, like meaning logging onto someone's account and actually playing, they're getting banned so fast. And if they get away with it, it's only like 1 or 2, then they get banned again. So to me, I think that's a great thing. Like I'm super, super, super happy with just carries becoming this kind of taboo thing. It's just like, dude, stop doing that. Because yeah, like you said, back in Wrath, I mean, Kata, I mean, people were win trading, doing carries. Like it was even Mist of Pandaria, a little bit of that. And then I think even in WoD we saw that. Just in the last couple of years, we've seen like a huge crackdown on the security, bans going out, and then all of a sudden, if one person in the PvP community gets like permanently banned, everyone else is like, okay, I'm not touching that. Like no way. And I think that's great. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean to be, and also you need to be realistic, like you just said. Is like there's other ways of doing that now. But you put yourself in the position of some of these guys were like 17, 19 years old, and some of these people were offering thousands of dollars to have this done. Like literally, I know people were paying $8,000 to $9,000 to have a rank 1 character because they just wanted the title and you got the mount and gladiator and all that kind of stuff. And it was rife in the PvE world as well. There's a lot of people who were like, "Yeah, I'll pay you $10,000."
Yeah, I mean,
people were like, what?
For the people that get really upset, like, dude, why would you ever do that? Yeah, think about a broke 17-year-old and who's really good at WoW, and it's like, hey, dude, I'll pay you $5,000 if you get me rank 1. It's like, oh, wow, like that's more money than I've seen in my life. Like a lot of these kids
have... I could live off to that for 6 months. Literally, you know?
A lot of these kids, of course, you know, like you can't necessarily. I think it's good now where it's at, where if you want to like monetize the game and make money on the game, creating content, Twitch, YouTube's great platforms, or you know, even Insta, Twitter, whatever it is. I think that's really, really cool. I'm glad that is behind us for the most part. I guess it's still there a little bit, but for the most part, yeah.
I don't think it's something that'll ever go away. I mean, we saw recently with like Gallywix getting crushed because they were doing real money stuff. It's still going on in some respects. I often see it now, though, as ways of getting around obstacles in the game, which is really bizarre. And I know some guys are still paying to have ranked geared characters. It's just to have them to show to their friends. They just like having, say, Mythic Raid gear, and that's it. I think to probably players like me or you, where gear kind of just arrives for the most part. Just by doing what we do, we get that stuff. It seems so outlandish. They were like, I hear, you know, to have someone pay all that money to say, well, I've got a mythic geared carry.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. It was definitely.
It's strange, isn't it? Like we boost people in my guild for gold because that's how we pay for raiding, and I don't get it. I never have. I'm like. I just don't understand.
Well,
you know, they'll pay 4 or 5 million gold to have an Azoth kill, and I'm like, okay, sure.
I'm a big believer that like the pride and the fun is in the journey, right? And for someone to do the journey for you, so you can sit at the top of the hill, just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like I just, I don't.
Yeah, the gear never makes sense to me. Like I get it for a mount collector who has no interest in PvE. Certainly nothing to do with like mythic level raiding. There's no interest in those kind of, you know, dedicating the few hundred hours it takes. But they can make gold.
True.
That makes total sense to me. I just like collecting the mounts. I have no interest in jumping through all those hoops. That makes sense to me. But buying like a set of gear, well, certainly not for any other reason than just having it to go and do world quests or whatever. Like that makes no sense to me at all. But it's definitely a weird thing. Let's go back to your website then. So I have to ask, because you have on here, going through your website, you have a lot of quotes, like actual philosophical stuff. And I can't help it. It comes across as cheesy to me, but I think that's not the case for you. Right?
Well, that's definitely good feedback to hear.
No, it's like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people use this stuff, and I guess this is like social media influence.
Yeah.
Because every now and again, you'll see somebody who you know is clueless and probably doesn't even understand it, but they can put Socrates next to it and like they've saved the world.
Right.
That's you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I think there's a fine line
Exactly.
between cheesy and maybe not so cheesy. What brings it back for me at the end of the day is the amount of DMs I get saying, dude, Czar, I lost 15 pounds. Dude, Czar, I lost 100 pounds. Dude, Czar, I lost 200 pounds. Dude, Czar, I quit smoking. Like, I'm getting those DMs on the daily, and I think for me, that's what wraps me back to like, wow, this is really making a difference. Like, people are really, really changing their lifestyles and their lives based on this like one Instagram post I did, or based on this workout live stream that took me an hour. And like, wrapping back around to why I don't compete, like that feeling and that it drives me, man. Like I love it. Like to be able to have an impact in someone's life and to help them lose weight, or to just not even necessarily like if they buy the program or not that I'm providing, but if they just see me working out, think it's cool, then get into, say, swimming, and they're like, dude, you motivated me to try swimming, and now I love it. And like, to see that is like the coolest thing ever, right? So for me to create content and have people just look at it and then be inspired and they can do their own thing with it is really cool for me. And that sets me on fire. So everything on the site is all the stuff we've been working on. So like the cookbook, it's 50 pages of all my favorite recipes that my fiance and I make every night. And it's just all the stuff that we really, want to make and create in a healthy way. So like ice cream in a healthy way, pizza in a healthy way. Like, we're trying to appeal to gamers, right? People that want food that tastes good, not just, oh, let me just eat chicken and rice every day. It's like, no, we want something that people are going to enjoy, but made in a healthy way, right? So that's the cookbook. Then the fundamentals is just the science behind gaining and losing weight, right? And then the program is all the actual exercises that we like to do week to week, not necessarily that anyone else has to follow, but if they wanted somewhere to start, it might be a good place for them. So yeah, just having those on the website and then doing these workouts Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for free. People can just hop in and follow along. Has just really been exciting for us, exciting for me. And it's just been a really, really fun thing to put our time and energy into.
Well, I've ordered one, so it better be good.
Hey, enjoy me. Oh, man.
It better be good. I did want to have a read through it before we had a chance to talk, but my schedule is, as you well know, it's let's go.
Right.
If we're doing something, let's go.
Get it, yeah.
Let's get it done. That's why I said, like, every time I read these things, I feel cheese. But when I was reading through your website, I was like, this isn't cheese. This guy believes this, and it's working out for
right.
him. And it's the same thing I got, because I do a show called Drama Time that I was, for a long time, it's never my most watched stuff. And like, algorithmically in YouTube, I was like, I should probably cancel this show. Like, it takes me a lot of time. Not a huge amount of people watch it. It's like a tenth of the audience. And I was like, we should cancel this. And then the feedback comes, like you said there. It's like, I'm having chemotherapy. And all I do is I go for chemo and I just put Drama Time on and it gets me through it.
Right.
One of the interesting ones was a lot of people who are deployed, certainly in the US, is their wives are downloading Drama Time, putting them on USB sticks and sending them out to them. And they're literally sat in the desert watching Drama Time on a laptop thing. And you listen to that and you're like, okay, well, we have to make the show forever now. Because like, why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't I do this to bring some levity or some brightness to that kind of scenario? If that's what I'm doing, I don't realize I'm doing it, which was maybe the way you went, because you go through your entire story here is where you've just looked at yourself and you said you felt skinny. Just become this kind of cliche gamer mode. I've got to turn this around. This isn't what I want for myself.
Right. Yeah. So I think I got to this point where, I looked in the mirror and I'm just like, man, like I'm playing WoW and I'm leveling up in the game and I'm getting this best in slot gear. And like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm my own real life character. And, I haven't been maybe, exercising or doing anything physical for years. And I'm like, man, like something has to change, right? So let me just get in a workout before I hop on the game. And I call it doing your dailies, right? So there's these dailies that I have under my stream, up on the website, and everywhere that I kind of promote. And I can maybe find a link for that. Yeah, I'll link it to you after. But it's just getting 20, so doing your dailies to me in real life means getting 20 minutes of sunlight, right? Like just going outside for 20 minutes. Moving for 45, and whatever that means for you, whether that's a workout in the gym, whether that's a hike, a run, a walk, just 45 minutes of moving, period. That could be swimming, it could be playing basketball with a friend, whatever it is. Water, just staying hydrated, right? Just having water next to you while you're gaming versus not, right? Just having...
Is Monster water? I like Monster water.
I'm not familiar, actually.
You're not familiar? It comes in a can. I think it's fine, though.
Okay, yeah. Water. Stay hydrated, basically, right? I think just staying hydrated while gaming or while not gaming is important. And then eating, right? There's a lot of different theories on how to eat correctly. I'm not really trying to get into that. I'm mainly just saying eat your fruits and veggies and protein, right? Just eat your fruits and veggies mainly and adequate protein, and just be aware of that. And don't just not eat for 12 hours and eat a pizza like I used to, right? I mean, they're like... that's what I'm trying to just say, doing your dailies, right? Sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night, just for proper recovery. And then socialize, saying hi to someone you love, just saying hello, like texting someone saying, hey, hope you're having a great day, or hello. Like, just don't necessarily outcast yourself in a dark room every day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out. And all of a sudden you look back and you're like, man, I don't have any meaningful friendships or relationships, right? So that's where the content might get a little philosophical, but for me, it's just do your dailies, man. Like, before you hop on WoW, do your real life dailies. And that's really like the big, easy message I'm trying to push, is just sunlight, movement, water, eat, sleep, socialize. Very easy things. You could get all of those done pretty easily in, an hour or less every day. And it'll seriously make you feel a lot better. And I've been getting so many people like, dude, I've been implementing your dailies for 3 weeks now, and I'm feeling a lot better. And that's just, to me, that's just like the coolest thing. And it becomes this roadmap to, I've done the dailies for a month or two. I'm going to start working out now, or I'm going to start, I am going to start smoking, or, whatever it is. And it's this kind of gateway to living a healthier lifestyle, but it's just a really easy place for a lot of people to start. So that's what we like about that.
Well, what I liked about it, this is why I wanted to talk to you. This isn't bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was watching your streams, and you're like, no, like, I need to get my sleep now. That's the end of the stream.
Yeah.
Where most people might look at like a stream that's popping off, and we've all been there with streaming, is like, you'll have that stream where there's like twice as many viewers as you've had before, and everything's popping off, and you're like, yeah, but I have to go now. Like, that's the nature of it. And I know what it happened to me the first time. I think I had like 1,000 viewers at the time, which was huge for me at the time. And I was like, yep, I got to go now. I've got things to do. And it was walk my dog. And I was like, and it's like, and people are like, you've got 1,000 viewers, you're leaving? I'm like, yeah, I have priorities.
Right.
I've got to take care of this puppy that's come into our lives. And it's not fair that I'd be like, oh, well, screw you. I've got, I'm doing well right now. I'm doing this. And it's, you enforce this. This isn't something you put out like some Instagram chump.
No.
The fake YouTubers who wake up, it's like, oh, I just woke up, guys. My makeup's already done. You know what I mean? And you're like, dude, you're so full of shit. Yeah. You're so full of shit. But you've not done that, and obviously the results are there because your fitness level is huge.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, and I try to only put out stuff that I'm actually doing, right? And I don't want to come across as like, fake or anything like that. Like, I'm doing my dailies, I'd say 98% of days. But yeah, there are 2% of days where I'll get I'll only get 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep, because I have an early flight in the morning for BlizzCon, or, there is going to be the day where I don't get 20 minutes of actual sunlight. I only get 10 or maybe, like, I'm not perfect. There's some days and just like anyone, there's some days where you mess it up. But I guess for the majority, I just wanted in people's awareness that if you're doing these basic things, you'll actually start to feel and think better, like start formulating more positive thoughts just from getting these basic human necessities in. And I think it's so common that I see like, hey, what's the secret to like the being in shape or like, feeling good? And I'm just like,
oh, the quick fix. Dude. Yeah, all you do is you drink 1 glass of water a day and you're suddenly healthy. That's
right. Yeah. It's like, dude, just take this pill and you'll be feeling great. It's like,
the magic pill. Yeah. When will they bring us the magic pill?
I'm just trying to show that, look, that doesn't exist, but these fundamentals are like, seriously, like, they seem so easy and basic, but if you start doing these week after week after week, like, it really, really is transformative. Just the basic dailies. And I think that's like, more than anything, I'm not I'm not trying to do anything other than just tell people like get your dailies done before you hop on WoW. I mean, that's just a simple way to put it, right? And you're in real life, you have dailies just like in WoW you have dailies. And if in WoW you start neglecting the dailies, guess what happens? Your character becomes frail, weak, and over time you're not going to have all the upgrades and shiny things that everyone else has. And just like in real life, if you stop doing your dailies, you can get away with not doing them for a week or a month, but after a while, I think it's going to deteriorate your body, and I just that's what I'm trying to just get out there. Yeah.
No, it's been really nice to watch a lot of the guys who are into fitness try and and gaming make that work, because obviously we've had Bajira for a long time, who's been pushing it. I know Sko was a huge advocate of that for the whole guild.
Yeah.
Like, I know one of his goals was to try and get the entire guild in shape.
Yeah.
He wanted them to not only be the best, but also physically the best. And now Gigi, I think, is going to move into that area as well, is to try and get it going. Because these guys, you don't expect it. It's actually surprised me. I hold a yearly event, like a live show, where we invite a lot of content creators down, and we have an audience and stuff like that. It's amazing how many people don't fall into that gaming cliche of the big fat sweaty Dorito fingered nerd. They turn up. Most of them are like in shape. They're fine. They've got their life balance sorted. But not all of us, like including myself. Like, my personal fitness is secondary to my work, is how I consider it. Which isn't ideal. I'm fully aware of that. But with my growth right now, that's where I focus on. And it's one of those things that you realize, no, it's not. It might be in the movies. In reality, it's not. Actually, a lot of people do take this stuff seriously, and they get it sorted, and they get their life balance in check.
You know what's funny?
And it works.
You know what's funny? And I didn't really think about it this way, like, initially, but I think a lot of WoW players that are really into MMOs, or just any video game players, right, that are into progression, getting better, leveling up, find that same joy in the gym when they get on the right programming, or when they find that type of workout that's really interesting for them. So, for example, say it is bodybuilding, right? Week to week, you can see yourself getting stronger. You can see these physical changes. And just like in game where it's kind of addicting, it's like addicting to get that new piece of gear, or addicting to get a little bit more DPS, or addicting to min-max just a little bit more. It becomes addicting to go to the gym and to start, working on your body in one way or another, working on, some physical aspects in one way or another. And I think that's the reason why we see a lot of like gamers or WoW players actually get into it, because it's a game. it's like a little game, just like the game we're playing each day. So,
well, one thing I'd love, and maybe you're maybe one of the right people to do that, is I thought a really good business idea for what you and your like are doing is to turn it into a game app.
Yeah.
That actually progresses your character, like a virtual character, in your phone. That you're running levels him up, and he has challenges that character can overcome.
That'd be so
and you're
cool.
Physically, right? So you could input data from like a Fitbit or whatever you're using to track it, or even manually, and it literally has like an RPG game element to it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I've actually had a lot of ideas about creating an app with not that exact idea. That I actually love that idea, but similar stuff with, because I think people need that attachment to, all right, I'm going to put this time in, but I'm actually going to log it, and I'm going to get an achievement, rewards, like level up through this app, through working out, right? And yeah, that could definitely be coming in the future. That's rad. I mean, I think that's super cool.
I think so, especially if you could go anywhere with it, right? You could create bosses that they beat. Like, I was wiping until I managed to get that run done, and that got me where I needed to be. It got me a new sword. That took me over.
Yeah.
Right? Or doing some sort of, I don't know, weight loss or whatever. It'd be tricky to make people not go hardcore, because we do tend to deal with extreme people sometimes. Some guy randomly went from not running to running 6 miles, like, to try and level.
He's like, I need
character.
1 more mile to level up, and he's just
If I burn another 1,000 calories, I get some new boots.
Oh my goodness.
So there's a balance to be achieved there somewhere, but it would be really fun if you could see that translated into a more gamer visualization.
I guess. And I think that's where I want to take this stuff in the future. And back to the question of how much time does a lot of this stuff take? With all the stuff we're working on with the website and the programs, a lot of it is like coming up with ideas like that, and then starting to implement, and like, okay, who would I have to hire to then make the app? And then in the app, what kind of features would we want? And those are conversations that we do have on like a daily or weekly basis. So there's a lot behind the scenes that like I said, I don't necessarily want to talk about or say that we're doing right away, but there's just a lot of thought and work that goes behind the type of content. So I think having free time to kind of explore those areas is definitely beneficial for us right now. When I say us, I mean my fiance and I. We work on all of this stuff together. She's helping with the website and the program and the cookbook and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, you promise you'll come back and talk to us when something's happening, yes?
Wait, say that again?
You'll promise you'll come back when you have something to show
Yeah,
us.
no, definitely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, let's draw it to a close there. This was ace. I really enjoyed this. This was super fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, man. It's funny because like for the people listening, they're probably like, oh yeah, like, Preach and Czar, like maybe they've talked before, or like, you know, like they had like an hour pre-show before this. Like literally Preach called me. I'm like, what's up, dude? And then we just started talking, like went live on the show.
It's the best way. Right?
2 minutes, yeah.
Don't you? Yeah, you. Sometimes I've been in these podcasts. I mean, this isn't a podcast by any means. It's just something we do for fun. But I get on there and there's like 40 minutes of prep, and you're kind of tired, and you're kind of like, you're already shooting the shit before you start.
Well,
it's like no
40-minute pre-show is probably what should have been the podcast, because then that's all the fun stuff, you know.
Right, that's the stuff people want to talk about. Like, let's get through this together. But no, we had never spoken before 2 minutes before the start.
Right, this is our first conversation ever. That's fantastic.
Next year at BlizzCon, I'll try not to avoid you like I clearly was doing every other time.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to link up, man. That'll be sweet.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Xaryu.
Absolutely.
And best wishes to you both. I hope the wedding goes super well.
Thank you, Preach, and thanks for having me, man. That's so cool. When you reached out, I was like, man, this is going to be super exciting. And like I said, I told a couple people, and they're like, man, this is like the ultimate crossover. So I hope everyone enjoys.
I think so. I think so, too.
All right.